And we're back.
And we're back. And we're back. Well, it's great to be back at our neighborhood podcast here.
Indeed, indeed.
And
Located wherever we are.
Yeah,
All right. So today we're going to be talking about three shows. Three. First, Pluribus, and then we'll be talking about Maul, Shadow Lord, and the Mandalorian and Grogu film.
right. Which is, yeah, I was gonna say, which I think is a film, not a show, but some exciting stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to start because I just rewatched the trailers for Mandalorian and Grogu and for Maul, and I just want to start off with the tagline. Now I've forgotten it, but I can sum it up basically by you know put that down. You're gonna spoil your dinner, which is like the punchline at the end of the Mandalorian after those like fighting and space
Yeah.
battles and all the rest of it.
He's like, God, you need to think more about your health while we're running away from like 30 different monsters.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's more like he's being that's like a dad thing to say, right? You're gonna spoil your dinner.
Oh, that is,
But
I think that, and also like when like you have a pet and you're like,
right.
hey, don't eat that. No, you're not allowed to eat that thing.
Yeah,
Get it out of
yeah.
your
Well,
mouth.
no, trust me, it was a parent reference, whatever else it might be, but
Ah,
it was a parent reference. But all right, what would you love to jump into first here?
let's talk about Pluribus.
Okay. Okay. Well, so we're essentially talking about the whole
Show so far.
season, right? Season one.
Mhm.
And
It's an interesting show.
Yes,
It's an
super,
interesting
yeah, super interesting.
show. Like,
I will say off the top that I'm not I haven't watched uh what is it, Among Us or whatever?
um,
What's it?
Among Us is
Uh,
the game.
yeah, but
Uh,
what's the show called with the zombies and the
it.
Last of Us?
Oh, Last of Us, Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm not like a zombie apocalypse kind of guy, whatever. It's just I'm not like I
Right.
haven't never been a big horror person, although seems that there's a bunch of horror out there that I need to watch. But
Yeah.
anyways, so uh, I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? Like I went in going, I'm not sure what's like, I don't know when it started going there. Anyways, I didn't know what it was about.
Mhm.
And when it first, like the first 5 minutes of it, when there was like, oh my God, we've decoded this. There's a message from another world. I love that stuff. I love
Yeah,
that stuff.
that's
I
really
love I
cool.
love how people handle contact with another. That
Right.
whatever genre that is, first contact sort of. And I
Mhm.
think there is a movie called that, but I love that genre,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like when we think of like first contact with aliens, we think like a massive war or something like that. But like in this, it's a quiet discovery of not like a big warship or something out there. It's a signal, a repeating signal that
Right.
could only have most likely existed from some sort of society that was able to project this out into the galaxy.
Yeah, what they're getting is something that they decide is whatever it was, a base four or a base six of different
I think base
things that
four or something. Yeah.
that was like encoding a kind of DNA, and somebody basically says that, like, I think there's something, like, I think I figured out what's going on here. But to that point, right,
Mhm.
when I was a kid also in the 70s, there was Star Wars, obviously. That's why we're here today,
Yeah.
through the Star Wars, the Star Wars. But there were also a bunch of other kinds of sci-fis, right? Like it was into the 80s, but E.T., at the time was kind of the biggest movie of all time, was a contact with aliens. So that in some ways fits into that genre. But in the 70s, there was also uh oh my God, now I'm totally blanking on the name. Um it'll come back to me. Anyways, that was about like this alien, people got obsessed with this mountain, and I can't
Hmm.
believe I can't remember it. I'm gonna have to. to Google it right now. Anyways, but just different ways that people are dealing with that contact. That there was a recent movie where those not monoliths, but those floating things came down, right? And then they
Mhm.
went inside of them, and then they ended up like interacting with
Oh
them, and
right, yeah. It was this really cool like mind-bending thing where it's like there's some sort of squid alien monsters behind this big you know pale glass thing, and like you can't really see what the creatures look like, but the creatures communicate with the humans, and like it was a
yeah.
really interesting film. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, that was a super great, interesting film. Again, that contact, right?
Mm,
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977. So same, this is Spielberg, same year as Star Wars came out. So we were interested in sci-fi then, and it's Peaceful First Contact. But that was a big thing focused on, you know what I mean? Like Star Wars takes us to somewhere else, and 40 years, 50 years later is creating a whole universe that we're
right,
exploring, whereas other movies focus on that kind of like, are we alone? What would happen if we
right.
meet? There's that whole genre. Um,
Hmm.
anyways, yeah.
And
So
and this is like reaching
so
out, meeting something that isn't sort of really live
Well, that's what I
in
mean. Sorry. So I was saying is, for the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh my God, like I was like, oh my God, I love this kind of thing. It was like
Mhm.
first contact. But what's interesting about Pluribus is that just when you think there's like some sort of mystery, they just come out and solve it, and then they move to like the next thing, sort of.
Right,
And so
yeah.
so that you know this thing happens, and then all of a sudden now you're in this whole like lab experiment, crazy
Yeah.
stuff is going on, and it
Mhm.
really whips up, and you're like, where's it all going?
And so I want to talk to you about what we previously said, talking about like how you're not too interested in horror, but or like talking about The Last of Us and like apocalypses and that.
Yeah,
And this is that kind of apocalypse, and a very successful one. I call it more though a quiet apocalypse. Like
yeah,
instead of like fire. Well, there are fires and there is death and destruction in the world, but this is a different kind in the sense that everyone nearly everyone suffers an affliction, but like then everything becomes ordered in a way that like
yeah. I mean, I can't remember what I think my
should
friend.
we just talk about like what Pluribus is like fully
Yeah,
like
well, say whatever, right? Like,
so
we're just
yeah
chatting, we're just, we're
plurib
talking about
so
the whole season, so it's
yeah
not like we're.
so Pluribus is about scientists discovering this sort of alien frequency DNA thing that after they introduced in the lab over next few weeks or months, a like humans become infected, and then after one night, all
It's
humanity becomes
essentially.
infected with
Yeah,
this.
it's essentially, they discover that there's a signal that in fact is a genetic code which ends up being a code for a kind of a virus that starts spreading amongst all the humans eventually, and humans kind of get um encoded to build more virus and spread the virus
Right.
until, essentially a
Everyone,
100% of the Earth is impacted, except for like literally like a
well-ish.
dozen people or whatever it is that
Yeah.
that aren't, and yet everyone's super happy, right? And not only that, it's the the thing is that it is all of a sudden everyone becomes a single mind, like that's
Yeah.
the so like what I'm getting at is, I think this is a very unique
Apocalypse.
apocalypse, or whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah, I guess it
Yeah,
is
it's
it is a kind of an apocalypse, or a yeah, like a and I think it's a really neat thing, and obviously it creates some opportunities to explore what it means to be human, and
yeah.
what you would do and things, right?
Yeah. I have to say though, I have to challenge your idea of like, when you said like everyone that it becomes infected is happy. So in several of the scenes, it shows us that like, well, they are happy to the non-infected humans. It's almost like we see scenes where like once the humans leave, everyone becomes mechanical and task-based and emotionless. Like there's the scene where like the guy is like doing like a not play but like role playing with a bunch of people where he's like a spy or something, and like the guy throws a glass because he lost the game or something, and like he's happy, and then the human walks off. But the moment that happens, everyone stops smiling and like goes to pick up the glass and just walks away. Everything in this film is the false impression of happiness to the humans, trying to say, "Hey, join," like a siren, like join us. Everything's happy. But the moment that you become a part of it, you stop being yourself, and thus no one needs to pretend anymore and just goes back to doing everything mechanically.
Right. And but I think that's why, that there is, there's something, there's something like it's a complete loss of self. It's a complete, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's some big questions here, right? Because when I say people are happy, it's almost like they really, one way to look at it is that they're achieving this kind of sense of um
unity.
or nirvana, right? Where
Yeah.
you're releasing the self, right? Like in the Buddhist
Mhm.
way, and I'm gonna get this not exactly right, and I apologize to Buddhists everywhere, but like it's kind of about completely letting go of yourself, right?
Right.
And your needs, your material, all of that stuff.
Right.
And when you reach that point, then you're like, that's nirvana.
Yeah, you've reached
And
enlightenment.
enlightenment. And so there's an aspect where it's like when they get there, they know everything in a way, not everything, but they know all of humans knowledge is
Mhm.
shared, sort of. And they, there's all this, there's a bunch of kind of positive things, like they all seem to like, they don't fight anymore, there's like no wars, there's no, there's a
Right.
bunch of human type problems around possessions and all that stuff that is solved. And yet,
You've got a whole new set of
you got
problems.
all these new set of problems because they're extreme anti,
They're extreme like
they're
pacifists and everything to the
right,
point where
they're,
like they won't defend themselves against anything.
well,
If you
they can't even grow food, right?
right, not just they can grow food, they can't even harvest it. Like
Right.
they won't kill animals because like they'll
Yeah.
be killing, but they also won't kill cockroaches or harvest the trees from apples unless it falls by its own choice.
Right.
And
Right.
like they're facing starvation because of it. Like they
and
like
and I and around this, right, like there's this one big, in like episode whatever it is, 5 or something, with like there's this enormous secret that gets discovered, and then like the next episode it's just like, yeah, so we got this secret, we eat all the dead people and we make a kind of a
yeah,
milkshake out of them. I know it's weird, but
it's what
here's
we gotta
why.
do. We gotta
It's
do.
what we got to do. It's what we got to do. And so, but there's this moment where you're thinking like, oh my God, this is it. This is the
Yeah, this is
thing.
the big
The
secret that
aliens are
like
coming to, and then they're
eat
just
all
like,
of us. But
oh,
like,
it's
nah,
kind of
yeah,
weird.
yeah,
It's kind
it's
of weird, but it's just what we do.
yeah, like that. This is in some films that I've seen, like this kind of stuff. It's like this character makes themselves look really paranoid in the setting because of how casual everyone else is. It's like, guys, they're eating people, and he's like, yeah, they John Cena told me about it while we were talking about
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. John Cena. Yeah.
And like
Uh,
and that like that's what's funny. It's like they make themselves like weird to even normal humans because like guys, I discovered this crazy thing. Your
mhm.
lifestyle, everything about you is gonna change because of it. He's like,
Right. and
yeah,
and and it's also, so there are two things. One, the interactions and the way that the other dozen people deal with stuff, right? Like there's
mhm,
obviously the one guy, I can't remember where he's from, Sri Lanka
he
or something like that, or I
he's the
could.
guy who finds the woman, I think, right? Like he goes out
No, I mean the
or
first guy she interact like when she first gets the whole group together, right? There's the guy
oh
who's
right,
flying,
the guy who had
he's
the
flying
airplane,
the president's Air Force
the
One and all that, right?
yeah,
And
and
he's
he's
like, I don't know, it seems to be pretty good. Like,
yeah, it's
what are we,
like
you know what I
racism
mean?
is gone because the
Yeah,
color of
all
skin doesn't matter
yeah,
and all that stuff
well, that's what I mean.
and
Like, on the one hand, like all of these human created problems of competition and violence and all that stuff is
mhm,
gone, right?
right.
Um, and then on the flip side though or within that, it's this dozen people or the ones that we meet anyways, how they deal with where they're at, right? So there's a lot of
Right.
them who are like mother, son, brother, father, whatever. They're like,
Hmm.
well, I'm just going to keep living with my family. Like
Yeah,
you
it's
know what I
like
mean? And some, and then there's the overarching thing that the tribe or whatever it is, right? The mind hive wants to, they're working on a fix,
right. And then
quote
they kind of
unquote.
they spoilers so they run into a roadblock where like the only way we can actually get you guys to join us is if we invasively like put something inside it, like remove some stem cells from you,
Yeah,
and we can only do that with your consent. And like obviously she's like, no, I don't consent. But then
right.
like,
So that I think these are the kind of human, you know what I mean? Like they're dealing with some great human questions about life and death and choice and
mhm,
what would you do if, and you want certain things your whole life, but like would it really be better if it was, or you know what I
mhm.
mean? Some
Yeah, I would say that while the show does show the aliens like, yeah, guys, everything's okay. It also shows the fact that like, no, they're not. Because sure, no, I would say honestly, this isn't humanity. This is the reintroduction of an entirely new species with different viewpoints. Because sure, there's no more biases anymore, and that's a good thing. Like, there's no more hatred of the skin
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter what skin you
Yeah,
have. But now it's no longer humans, it's efficiency, effectiveness, the most made from the littlest amount, like,
right.
and all their the only thing that these new aliens are interested in now is sending off signals into space to spread the love, basically. And after that,
Well,
doesn't matter what
well,
happens to them.
but well, and we'll get to that in a second. I was also going to throw out, there's almost like a, I don't know if it's anyways, it's almost like it's kind of like, you could also look at it through a politics lens in a way. Like this is like communism or some
Right.
utopia, but in order to do that, you totally lose your kind of
The
freedom,
self.
and like, the cowboy independent freedom is like, oh my God, it's way better that we fight and kill each other and do all that stuff, but at least we
Right.
have we have our own free will, so to speak, right?
Yeah, like because of
And
the aliens introductions, anything cultural is gone. Like,
right.
sure, the cultural ideas exist, but no one's practicing them because they're not efficient. They're not forwarding the
Well, there,
goalpost for
I
the
and
aliens.
well, and I guess the point is that they end up like the unique problem of their species is uh, that they end up having to focus so much on food that that they do all
They're
the math, and they're like, we're going to end up in some kind of, you know
starvation in 10 years or something.
or whatever it is. Like I can't remember what they think is going to happen, and my sense of it is that they're already looking for the next planet. Like that's part of their problem, is that they haven't figured out how to deal with this, that when they land somewhere, they kind of kill that. They can
They
they
kill that
can
entire civilization, basically. Like,
well, they kill the civilization, but they also kill the population. They kill their ability to exist, and they've got to go
right.
to a new. They've got to go. They're almost like
They've got to
a
bounce
virus.
off from one planet to it's literally a
Yeah, like
virus. Like,
a parasite or a
exactly.
virus or something. They got to go
Its
to a new
only
place, right?
purpose is to reproduce. It can't
Right,
make stuff. Well,
right.
it can make stuff, but it can't continue this. Like, if the aliens were if they discovered a civilization that had some sort of animal or plant that like could make all the food that they needed to do and they didn't have to like pull it off, then they would
Yeah.
keep on sending off the signals and that's it. They would eat and
Yeah.
send in signal. But like the idea of humanity of like working together to advance technologies and all that stuff because we want to do stuff is gone. The only
Right.
interest that these humans have anymore is make a new telescope to send off the signal to other directions, other universes, and then that's it. Like they can't
Yeah.
make food because they're not
Yeah.
willing to kill stuff.
Yeah.
And any cultural ideas, any religious beliefs, anything that made you unique is gone now. All of it's been tossed into the
Right.
soup.
So in some ways they've got all of this future knowledge, these incredible ability to do all this stuff, but because they give up entirely the self, right,
Hmm.
into this huge thing, then the individuals are gone, and that's in some ways what the main character is kind of rebelling against, right? Like the idea that this ends what being a human is all about, right? Being an individual,
Hmm.
being creative,
Right.
doing all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah. Anyways, well,
Yeah. Very good
it's
show.
a yeah, very interesting show. I liked it because it was different, and you know what I mean. It really it trying to say things and do things, and it was interesting because for me the things were very unexpected that came,
Hmm.
and there was a lot of comedy within the
It's like,
boundaries of the world
yeah.
of the universe they were creating, right?
Yeah. You gave me a hand grenade? Well, you asked for one. You
Yeah,
gave me a
you gave
hand
me
grenade.
a nuclear bomb or whatever, right?
He's like,
Yeah,
we'd weigh the options, but yeah. And he's
yeah,
like, what the? But yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's definitely. I really enjoyed this show, and I can't wait for the next season.
yeah,
Come out.
yeah. Me too.
Yeah. So
All right. So
let's
what?
talk
What?
about let's talk about Maul.
Okay.
So Maul Shadow Lord is coming out in like next month, I think. Something like that.
Okay.
And I'm really excited for it. First thing I
So
want to talk
so
about. Oh,
well, if it's all right, sorry, I think it would be helpful for me because I've got a lot of questions, right? Like
mhm.
I remember Maul as being this like incredible visual character in whatever it was, the second or third
First,
episode, right?
first episode of the prequel trilogy.
Oh, first episode. Okay, because
Yeah, the
and
first
and then
film. Yeah,
and then did he get killed?
he got
Like
cut in half, and that was it for
that
him.
was it. Okay, because in a way that was almost like kind of I'm glad they're bringing
Jarring.
him back. Yeah, and sort of like disappointing in the sense that like he was such a visually interesting character, right? And
Hmm.
and at the time of that first one, there was so much kind of like like who is this guy? What's it all about? And he's got like he would and then he didn't kind of I don't know. They didn't develop the character essentially, right?
Yeah. I gotta say, as someone who has watched the Clone Wars, the other shows,
He's in it.
he gets so much character development. Like
Right.
it is
Okay.
he
So there you so and I guess that's my other question is where does he fit in the timeline sort of,
there's
right? And
okay. So I've gotta you don't care about spoilers too much, do
no,
you?
I mean we haven't watched this one, so that's fine. No. And
Okay,
and 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 so then sorry, the last thing is about like a Sith Lord is like a dark Jedi essentially.
yeah, like the rule of two is that there can be only a master Sith and an apprentice Sith
Okay.
anymore, and there's like a whole problem with like one guy's gonna stab another guy eventually in the back. So if you got two guys, two apprentices, and one master, or two masters, one apprentice, it just doesn't
It's just
work.
okay.
So the rule of two is like, okay, master and apprentice, eventually you're gonna kill me or I'm gonna kill you, and then like, just because of the Sith way. So
But
first,
for instance, is Vader a Sith?
yes.
Okay. So
He's
that's the
any guy with a red lightsaber is probably a Sith.
okay, because that wasn't necessarily made. You know what I mean? Like when through Vader and all that. I don't know that they mentioned Vader as Sith in
Okay.
the New
Yeah.
Hope and those things, right? So
Yeah, he was just a big scary guy with a red
yeah,
lightsaber, but like future stuff. So now I'm explaining to you, I have to explain to you Maul's story.
okay,
So the last time you saw Maul was when he was cut in half and fell down an elevator chute. Now, as we all know that as Star Wars, bless you, as Star Wars
thank
has
you.
made it abundantly clear, someone does not die from an elevator fall. We've seen that
Okay,
with the sequel trilogy, and we've seen it with the prequel trilogy. If you fall
right.
down an elevator in any sense of the way, you're fine.
You're
So
you're just taken out for a little while.
yeah, you're taking a little nap, you'll be fine. So Maul got cut in half, fell down the elevator shaft in Tatooine, and I think he ended up on some other planet somehow with a spider body. He got this whole new fix with the he got his brother to help him get to the Night Sisters from Dathomir because he's a Dathomirian. So like
Oh,
the same people that we saw in
yeah,
Ahsoka, those
yeah,
witches,
yeah.
they're like, okay, fixed you, you're alive again. And so from there, his whole
So
mission,
sorry, there's men Dathomirians as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
so the male Dathomirians are the guys with like our Maul. They got like red,
Yeah.
yellow, orange faces or like bodies with black skin and stuff.
Okay.
That's that. So and then like the female Dathomirians are I think pale ladies or maybe not. Either way. Anyway, so last time so Maul got fixed and then his whole stick from now on was finding Kenobi and killing him because that is what
Oh,
kept him alive. His anger, his
hate. Oh,
hatred, his want for revenge,
yeah, yeah.
not just at Kenobi, but everyone who had wronged him, especially like his master, Darth, I think Sidious, because like he had been a tool that was used and was cast aside once it was done. You're on mute. Never mind.
Yeah.
So Maul's whole stick is he is hatred incarnate. He hates being controlled. He wants to end his master and he wants to end Kenobi because he wants power and they denied
Sorry,
him it.
who was his master, or do we know? Or
Darth Sidious, the same guy who
oh,
turned Anakin into Darth Vader,
oh,
Emperor Palpatine.
ah,
So Emperor Palpatine sent Maul in to kill these guys. They failed. He's like, "Oh, I lost the guy, but hey, Anakin, he can be corrupted." So Maul survived. He met up with his master again, who almost killed him.
oh. So
And
now
now
we
his
got the
whole
power two issue going on. You mean?
yeah. So his whole stick is he wants revenge against everyone who's wronged him. And he is a force of nature, let me tell you
Oh,
that. He can
yeah,
fail sometimes, but like in as you saw in the trailer, like the guy said like
yeah,
he has run crime syndicates and is a master in the lightsaber,
yeah, yeah,
which
yeah, yeah,
which so another important tidbit. You remember Mandalore. Like Mandalorians, the Mandalorian Grogu, those guys, they come
yeah.
from Mandalore. Mandalore has been through some stuff. And at one point, Maul kind of owned it for a bit. He was stopped in at the end of the Clone Wars, but like, oh, we're running time. Yeah. So Maul is back, and he's getting some another Jedi that somehow survived the Great Purge, Order 66. Somehow they keep
Yeah.
on popping up, but I'm excited for what happens because man, the animation quality in Star Wars media, especially the Clone Wars and so on, has been
Y-
so good. Like it's
Yeah.
evolved so well.
Well, I'm really excited, because I think again to kind of our the origin story of this podcast YouTube channel is that you got into Star Wars through the Clone Wars, and I the quality of that was less, right? It's an older animation, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, I didn't realize that it was like part of the universe, right? I thought it was
Hmm.
just like
Some
kids playing with,
cartoons or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
kids playing with dolls. It wasn't
right.
really, you know what I
But
mean, the main thing.
yeah,
But
but
I'm looking forward to
yeah,
watching this and learning more. You know?
yeah. Like the animated series, to some people may seem like, oh, it's just like it's just a cartoon. It is deep and has a lot of important lore, like stuff that we've
Yeah.
seen in later shows. So very excited for uh Maul. Very super excited to see what happens with that. Now,
And
Mandalore.
sorry, yeah, well, hold on. And where and we can always do Mandalorian if we don't get there today. We can do it,
Yeah.
next time or whatever. But where does Maul like
Where
what
does
are
he take place?
where's this going to fit, right? Because you're saying that he was in uh Clone Wars. What do you think this is talking about? I'm just curious. Not that it
Okay,
matters, and
so
we
this
can
is
talk about it
obviously after the Clone Wars, because the last time we saw him, he was at the end. He got on a ship on like a small spaceship while a big ship full of clones trying to kill Ahsoka was falling into a planet. Last time we saw him, he got on a ship and blasted off.
So that was
So
in, sorry, hold on. That was
that
in
was Clone Wars.
Clone
That was
Wars.
in the
Okay.
Clone Wars specifically.
Okay. And
Last time
and
we kind of saw him in that age.
and in the movies, we think he's dead because he falls down something.
Yeah. So first
And then
movie
the
falls
Clone
into
Wars come after, right?
comes
The
and
Clone
he
Wars
yeah,
is
Clone
between two
Wars
and three, kind of.
2 and 3 and 4. So Maul falls down a chute, comes back alive, and last time we saw him, he was getting on a ship to escape a crashing ship. So this is happening after that, after the Clone Wars has ended.
So this is probably between movies 3 and 4 or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
And
this
that
is between 3 and 4,
great
definitely.
great gap where all the stories can be told, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. So like this is happening around that time. We saw characters that die in like some of like the newer miniseries, and we saw a character that dies in the Ahsoka series. So like that's kind of
Oh yeah, yeah.
like there's that guy with the mask, like
Yeah,
the bladed mask that he died in the Ahsoka series. So like yeah, this is between 3 and 4.
right.
Very
Yeah.
excited to see what happens here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it looks really good. I'm excited. I'm excited as well. So that will maybe, I think it starts
Mhm.
in April or something, right?
Yeah,
So that's
April
next
6th, I
week, pretty
think.
much. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that will probably be our next little series run.
Hmm.
And we got about 6 minutes left here for
Mandalorian. So
Mandalorian
very excited to
Mandalorian and Grogu.
yeah, the film it's coming out on the 22nd or something. I think
Yeah.
May or something. I'm excited for that. It's nice to see Mandalorian and Grogu back at it again in the saddle.
Yeah.
It's cool because we're seeing recurring characters. Like there was a character from the Clone Wars, Embo, who had this cool helmet thing, and he was voiced by I think like either Dave Filoni or something. Very cool to see him around. We saw some huts. Very cool to see. I think one of them was actually
Yeah.
a kid the last time we saw him. So that's gonna be cool to see. Um,
Yeah.
and like there's a bunch of stuff that happened in the show, but I can't really remember. And I'm just excited for it when it comes out.
And it's interesting. There's obviously quote unquote bad guys that people love, like Maul, for
Hmm.
instance, right? But um, Andor obviously has, set incredible new standard, almost redefined the whole series in a way.
Hmm.
But Mandalorian, and it's interesting because they're so solitary, right? His relationship with Grogu maybe is, what makes him a little bit more approachable or
Hmm.
likable or whatever it is. But he's also become kind of one of the main, there was always like, there was Luke and Leia and Han, but now we've got like Andor, and he obviously has a limited,
Hmm. Time.
time, right? But so far,
Yeah.
but Mandalorian is that other, like he's another hero, like real hero of the whole.
Hmm.
He's become
Yeah.
a real hero.
Yeah. And he's around. He's somewhere out in the galaxy. taking
Yeah.
contracts and raising his 100-year-old kid.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, there's a lot going on in Star Wars this spring,
Yeah,
which is great.
I'm very
I'm
excited for all the upcoming stuff. Very
yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. Well,
well.
keep pressing that subscribe
subs-
button and
Keep on leaving those
keep
comments and questions,
keep
and
on leaving those comments, and we're excited to we'll be looking to move on into the podcast world this spring,
yeah,
and
yeah. One of us
yeah.
will probably grow a full facial face of hair to like be able to stroke or get
Yeah,
those, other people to watch. But
yeah.
I am excited, very excited.
Yeah, yeah. Got some good Star Wars coming up
Hmm.
this spring, so look forward to watching those. We'll certainly be back before and or after the first episode of Maul, and until we meet again,
Until we meet again, take care, people.
take care out there.